and the option was, life or leave it, check out. Literally for 3 or 4 years wandering in the desert praying and thinking, how do I tell my friends and my children? How do I tell my parents? I can't do it. I didn't think I could do it. Well, you don't crush it here, you just sort of bend forward. Wake up. Just want to warm up a little bit. Kind of unstick it. So I'm the cow boss on this little drive. So you guys stick with me until I spread you out, okay? If I walk, you walk. If I trot, you trot. You never get in front of the cow boss. When I'm out here and I'm working cows or trailing on a good horse and trailing these cattle, and I'm riding with my son and my nephew and different friends, or even just by myself with the 2 dogs, or if I'm out driving this pickup truck looking for strays or hauling horses somewhere, I feel the pleasure of God. I feel the pleasure of God. And that's how I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I know I'm doing what God wants me to do, regardless of, this change I'm going through, this transition I'm going through. And there's no question in my mind, when I can be out here in such a beautiful country and do exactly what I'm called to do. I'm blessed. I'm just completely blessed. I remember I was 6 or 7 years old and we were getting ready to go on a camping trip. And my older sister and I were cleaning the camper trailer in preparation for this trip. And she was, cleaning the refrigerator or something, and she was just talking away and saying, when I grow up to be a woman, I'm gonna, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, when I grow up to be a woman, I'm gonna blah, 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 blah. And she looked at me and she said, you're not gonna grow up to be a woman. You have a penis. You're gonna grow up to be a man. I'm like, I'm gonna grow up to be a man. I'm like, what? And she explained the whole thing. I was 6 or 7. What did I know? I just felt like a girl. I like boy stuff, but I also like girl stuff. And I loved being a cowboy, but I always thought I'd be a cowgirl when I grew up. And she set me straight. And it kind of depressed me for a long time. I remember being sad about the whole thing. And
when I first met Sofía, she had come to a ditch meeting. We have irrigation ditches out here. She walked in with her dad, and I'm recently single, so my first thought was, wow, that's a good-looking woman.
He was the archetypal Southern Colorado, Northern New Mexico, extra macho, manly man cowboy. Did I suspect anything? No, not at all.
One day in 2010 in July, he asked me to come out to the house, and when I got there, the damnedest thing ever in my life happened.
Dun, 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 dun. Sofía came out. And I'm like, hello. Didn't suspect that.
Here, this handsome cowboy that I had nearly grown up with was standing there and had an absolute feminine look to him. And I said to myself, what the heck is this?
When my dad actually, opened the door, and, there's like a woman standing there, completely done up in a dress, and a bra, and I think a wig at that time, makeup and stuff. And we were all just like, kind of, of course, in shock.
We sat down and had dinner, and he laid out a perspective of taking control of your life, your feelings, your drive, the motivation, the conflict. He laid out a picture that was compelling. It was heartfelt. It was very brave because, as a matter of fact, I've always considered myself a rather macho little son of a bitch.
There's nothing that would indicate that he wanted to be like a woman or be a woman or anything like that. So I found it kind of strange that, you know, he conversed over to a woman.
No, because there's some really good grass up there.
Other than that, I mean,
Out there all afternoon.
to me, he's still Pedro. Just a few things different. Yeah.
You know, I got to a point where I just couldn't be a man anymore.
Eso te pasó por no saber que todo tiene su precio, atrevido. Eso te pasó, atrevido. Eso te pasó por no saber que todo tiene su precio, atrevido.
So what I'm doing is, it's a little embarrassing, but it's one of those things that are important to a person who's in transition. But so because I was born a male, I have more of a male body, and the hormones have a lot of effect on the fat transfer. But so I'm getting this procedure, which is the Brazilian butt lift, or the fat transfer with butt augmentation, and forms, you know, a beautiful backside.
It gives you a rounder look here. I'm going to really fill this in so that it gives you more of a heart shape look. Bring all this in so we get rid of that. It'll be a dramatic change. It's not simple, it's dramatic. All right.
It's a little intimidating, you know, to allow yourself to be, you know, put into this position, to have your body sort of modified in a certain way, just, you know, to make the body image be more like what you see in your mind's eye. And you know, there was a big part of me today wishing I just didn't have to go through this. It's, you know, it's a challenge, and I wish my kids didn't have to see me go through this, or my parents, or my friends, and me. You know, it really pisses me off when people say, well, I respect your choice, or I despise your choice. This isn't a choice. The choice is, do I live? Do I continue to live my life? Or do I, you know, discontinue my life because I can't face being a man anymore? Those of us that are given these challenges, we have to get to a point where we face them. It's like a reality show. Okay, so we need to go to 2310 South Dixie Highway. When I realized that I was going to have to go through this change in my life, I decided if I was going to do this, I wanted to look really good, and not for anyone's sake, but my own. Sorry to bring it up yet again, but I am obsessed with getting a great ass. It was not something I was born with as a male, nor have I been able to grow in on my own as a woman. No more waist cinchers or corsets, no more stupid ass butt pads. I want to own my own gorgeous ass and thinner waist. I was a butt man, an ass man, and I know the importance of a beautiful one for men that would be attracted to me. As if I can be in a position to help other people if they see this and possibly inspired by it in any way, then that's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm allowing this I into this very private and somewhat complicated life.
What have I gotten myself into?
This is for this is for all the people who need a little hope and who need a little inspiration, if you will. It's not for me.
I ended up putting about 900 cc's into each buttock.
900.
That's almost, that's about 2 pounds per butt.
Wow.
So you got 4 pounds of butt at the shop.
Wow.
That didn't feel good. Makes a person feel alive. Self-improvement is I think it's a privilege and and a right that we have as people. Just lots of different ways of doing it, you know. No matter where I go in the world, it's always wonderful to get back to the ranch. I love this life. I don't care winter, spring, summer, or fall. It's beautiful here. Paradise. This is my favorite Ian Tyson song of all time. That it was worth every minute of pain and every nickel I spent, and every day it just keeps getting better, you know. Absolutely worth it. Clothes fit completely different. I feel completely different about, you know, my body and my, you know, myself, and yeah, it was huge move to get this surgery done. Absolutely. Then they can put it into your ass.
It just takes a few minutes, huh? Look at that butt, man.
Feel it. It's like muscle.
Well, of course,
and
it
fat.
was a shock. I mean, of course, you know, it came right out of left field. I had no idea that, you know, you had gone through what you had gone through all of your life with it, obviously. And after the initial shock, you know, and then there's always all the kind of the bullshit, jokey, you know, amongst the guys and everything. Yeah. But you go home and all the guys aren't there and you're not joking, and you start thinking about it and stuff. And what I came out of it with, and really, I still feel like what you're doing right now is something that you've got to do. But to me, it's like cosmetic changes. It's like you're Sofía now, but you're still Pete. I mean, I knew Pete all those years, and I admired Pete, and I loved Pete as a brother, you know. And so, because you go through something like this doesn't mean that I lose my friendship with Pete or my friendship with Sofía.
Same here. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. You know, I was hoping for the best, but I didn't fully expect it. But that's what I got, you know. Getting it all back. It's beautiful.
So it's like it was an interesting switch. It was like, you know, the childhood father, and then, you know, Sofía, which is still my father, still the same person. I mean, I think if people sometimes like get this feeling that, like, oh, are you like a different person now? And then, you know, they start talking to her, and then they're just like, oh well, it's just the same exact person pretty much. I mean, surface aside, what's inside of somebody isn't going to change, I guess.
But when a very handsome, very masculine man is brave enough to reach down into his soul and say, the things that are troubling me is that maybe I've always felt a little uncomfortable in my own skin, and that it's going to take me a lot of courage, but I'm going to move out of this. I'm going to take advantage of the science of the present day ways, and I'm going to ask you as my social boundary to accept me no longer as your old friend Pedro, but I want you to accept me as your old friend Pedro and your brand new friend I'm going to introduce you to, named Sofía, which is the name of his grandmother. Angel home. Come on, one more time. There were 7 Spanish angels at the altar of the sun. They were praying for the brothers in the valley of the gun. When the rifle shot and the smoke cleared, there was thunder on the throne. And 7 Spanish angels took another angel home.
That's a great song.
That's a great. That's a beautiful song. You know it is.
Thank you for being my friend.
Thank you for being my friend, Sofía.
Washtelo.
Washtelo, Paula.
I've gained a lot of beautiful friends. I still pretty much have every friend I ever started with. My children love me, my parents love me, and I know God loves me, you know. In Spanish, we have this saying, puro fe. It means pure faith. And that's how I live my life. Con puro fe.
Places a man like me fits in, where I feel I'm amongst my kind and amongst my brethren, where holdouts like us have a look in their eye, from the way they live to the way they die. Indians and Spaniards, Boscos and white, but they're all buckaroos inside with the buckaroo's pride. From the youngest child to the oldest man, they're holding on out there any way they can.